Hey everyone, today we are working on the Meyer E47 plow pump unit. The issue that I'm having here is the plow will not lower, so basically, I put the switch in the drop position and the cylinder ram is stuck in the lifted position. So the Meyer manual actually has a pretty good series of troubleshooting flowcharts that are really easy to follow along. I'll drop a link down in the description below to where you can find one of those manuals. But when you look at the snowplow will not lower section, the first question that it asks is, does the coil that controls the A valve have magnetism? So in this case, the answer was yes, it does, which we're going to cover here in just a couple seconds. And the first troubleshooting step that they list is to replace the A valve. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do today. We're going to replace that A valve and see if that fixes the problem. So it's a little hard to see in the video here, but I'm grabbing that A coil there with my fingers, and that thing is stuck on there. I'm pulling as hard as I can and cannot pop that off, so definitely have good magnetism there. If you haven't yet, definitely go down below and hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate that. And also, I'm going to be posting a couple more videos on this E47 and the plow in general, so that way you'll get notified of those and everything else I'm working on here. Alright, so you can see how easy that coil pops off there with the switch in the off position. So that coil is not magnetized and slips right off there. And to remove the A valve, you just need a deep well socket and pop it right on there. Alright, so the socket size is a 1 1/8 inch deep well socket. And the A valve should not be in there super tight. It's a pretty low torque value for installing that, so hopefully you don't have any trouble breaking yours free. This one wasn't in there too awfully tight and came out without any sort of problem. Alright, so I'm not exactly sure what I was thinking here, but I would pull this A valve out without draining out the oil or putting a pan underneath. So you'll see here, as soon as that thing pops out real quick, I had to run to the garage and grab a pan to throw underneath. Actually, not that much oil came out. I mean, it was probably just a few ounces of oil that were lost into the pan, and the rest of it seemed to be locked in there. But if I were to do this again, I probably would get a container and drain the oil out before working on this. Okay, so here's the old valve. I had actually pulled this thing out before. I worked around in kerosene trying to get that poppet freed up. No luck there, so I just went ahead and bought the replacement valve. Alright, so I picked up this A valve on Amazon from a company called DME Manufacturing. Pretty cool, there's still at least one company out there making parts for these old Meyer snowplows. If you have quality older equipment, it's always my preference to keep that stuff running, so very glad to see there's still a manufacturer out there making these parts. As I mentioned, I picked this up on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description below. There are two variations of this. This one that I have is what they call the 3/8 nut. It has that brass 3/8 nut on there. I think that's the smaller of the two. So just double check your A valve, make sure that you order the correct one, and also the listing, at least when I picked it up, had language in there to make sure that you checked it and listed the two sizes. Reinstallation here is very simple. Make sure you take fresh, clean snowplow hydraulic oil and coat down the threads and the O-rings on that valve nice and good. Alright, just thread it in. Yeah, once it's made contact, just snug it up a little bit. It definitely does not need to be torqued down extremely tight. You don't want to break this thing for sure. A little bit of anti-seize here on the threads to help me out next time I take this thing apart. So now we just snug down that brass nut onto the valve. Again, don't over torque. This is not a thread that you want to break off and deal with that. Alright, moment of truth here. Let's see if this thing fixed the problem. Well, there we have it, victory. That was the issue. It was a bad A valve that would not let that snowplow lower. So yeah, if you were having this same problem on your Meyer snowplow, hopefully this is of assistance to you. If you're having some other problems, definitely go below, drop a comment. I can try to help you out, or maybe someone else can answer your question for you. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button. That way you get to see all the fun stuff I'm working on. Yeah, if the video was helpful or you just simply enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Alright, take care.